Zustand is a JavaScript library for managing state in our web app. Mostly developer use in React, but we can use in also our uh, vanilla JavaScript project also it will work. So but mostly developer use in React, so let's we also use in React for now. uh, we have to install, or we have to create first React project, and we have to install this 12 million weekly downloads. Okay, and it's easy to use bare bones state management solution. So let's create first React project, and let's start with simple, like let's do first increase account to understand first the syntax of that, just and how to create a, not like, so I know the Redux toolkit and Redux also, so I know the basic idea, but let's see. npm create npm create wait at latest. We can give counter app name, counter app React, use JavaScript, no, yes. It will automatically install all the packages dependency and start the server, and we can see our app count is working fine because of used it. We can use the syntax of just, and we can create state globally. First create store, so here also we have to create store similar to Redux have a store reducer function action that will be object type and payload. Here we have to import only create. Okay, use bare store. Okay, this is normal function. Where is our app? We have to first install the dependency. We don't have, just and npm install just and install. uh, we installed in wrong directory. Let's uninstall just and uninstall npm uninstall just and. Okay, so we have counter app, and we don't need this other files. We need to go to directory of counter app npm I just and. We have just and 5.0.9 version. We can do use similar syntax as this. We have to import create. We can use the structure of Redux also here, like we can create app folder. So in Redux I do like this and create here store.js, and let's import that create from what library, just and we have to create one function. Syntax is something like this, const. Let's do use counter, or what we can give name, use counter. we have to use create function here. Create function, inside we pass callback function. Callback function, what it does return, it will return undefined, so you have to be careful here when you write this syntax. We implicitly receive here set function, and we have to always remember that we have to return an object. So this is object, and this is the shorthand method to return object, but this is take as an scope, so it will return undefined. So we can do return then again object, so it will more complex, it will become more complex syntax. We can directly implicitly return this object in shorthand method using this moon bracket. Now it will return this object, and here we will use the count variable or property, we can say. Initially it will be 0, and we can like similar or not reducer function, we can like build increase, we can use increase, that will be a function that will invoke this set function, and inside set function also callback. So first time it look really confusing the syntax. If you understand this why we use extra moon bracket, then okay, no need to worry. Initial state count 0, increase function that invokes setter function. Here we implicitly receive state similar to reducer function. In Redux toolkit also we implicitly receive this state. Then we have state. Here also this setter function, what it does return, it should always return an object. So we can't do like this, it will return undefined because it will create scope. So we have to implicitly again, we have to use that moon bracket to implicitly return that object. And here we have to handle uh, immutability or not. So it's better to use like immutability, because when we do direct push, maybe sometime in larger app it does not cause re-render. There is also immer, so in Redux toolkit it will use immer.js. Here also we have immer, I forgot the syntax, immer. So we can wrap this all the callback function in immer. So we can use push, splice, on shift also we can mutate the state, mutable state is possible here also. But let's not uh, do that. Let's use immutable syntax here for now. In later video we can also see the mutable things. Okay, we return the object, then we can do count. So we don't have to do like this here not previous state, it will automatically combine all the state in the last. So we can just do only count, and we can do state dot count plus 1, so it will increase, it will return that new object with new object state. global state with increase 1 to previous value. Okay, let's to use this store we have to export this function, export named export. We can also do a default export, but let's use named export. We have two, already 10 minutes done, and let's remove all these things. We don't need this. And button increase h1 count, and we can see the count here. We have to import what, that use counter, import use counter from store. Use counter should invoke on click that callback function. What? No, use counter we have to invoke, use counter we have to invoke, and it will return to object. What? The object, it will return this object with two properties, count and increase. It will not go here, it will go count and increase. If we put count here and if we put increase here, let's see our app, it shows 0, initial state is working fine. If we change to 5, yes, we can see, but if we increase, yes, our Justin, we learn the Justin just end library. To just start, we learn this library, and we can also, so for the practice let's do decrease also. Decrease function, set callback function. We have to remember this syntax, moon bracket and object. We have to always return an object, state count, and we have to do count -1, state dot count -1. I hope the syntax is correct. Yes, let's use decrease. Language is changed. If we decrease, yes, it's working. So in 14 minutes we learn the basics of how can we uh, create this store, and how can we change the state using set, and we can receive this state also. So let's use mutable, like what we can do, we have to always return object, or we can do count plus plus or count +1. If we do state count +1, it will throw error. Let's remove this one and let's see this mutate thing work or not. without returning new object. So it's not working. Let's see the emerges. Emerges. How do we import immer? We get in this just and immer by default, but how can we import immer? Yes, middleware. So this is the syntax of immer. Let's wrap this on this immer function. This one bracket goes to create, and here let's see now it's working or not. Still not working. Immer imported just and is it installed? Yes, create immer. So this things is working. We have to do, like, we don't have to mutate the main, like, state. We can use immutable object, latest object, to change the state. So that will be, immer is not working. So let's skip that. Redux toolkit by default use behind the scene emerges, so their work splice push unshift. We don't have to handle this immutable thing. So here we can use immutable by default, so you have to learn this spread, and this we have to always return a new object. Let's use that older syntax. Now if we refresh, increase, decrease, and if we use now immer from just and middleware immer, if we use now, then it will give error or not. If it will give error, then something issue with this, there will be no immer. So it uncaught error could not result immer, but by just is it installed. So there is no library of immer inside this just and I think. So let's do next exercise on this. Already 20 minutes done, 19-20 minutes done, and immer is not defined. We successfully coded this emerges. Now let's do CRUD operation. Let's pause for 2 minutes, then do CRUD operation on using this emerges, like to do app, create, read, update, and delete. So I will pause this video and start in 5 minutes. So let's do CRUD operation using just and. Let's create to do component. Let's create one folder inside source and component, uh, to do's or to do dot jsx, then and I was thinking something, so we have to create component. To do export default to do return div inside. Let's create form to input field placeholder to do. We need button, add to do, add to do. To do component, we can remove this for now. We can use that to do component here in the app.jsx. Where is my app? Yes, if I click on add to do, it should add to do when I type something. Add to do. Problem is it will refresh, so we have to do event dot prevent default. Okay, let's create one state for to do text input const use state. You are thinking why we use state if we are using Zustand. So for only this component, when we inputs, when we type something, so that typed string value we have to store somewhere, so for that only we store. But on the Zustand store, we store all the to do's in the data structure of array of object. Here we are only storing the string. Okay, to do input set to do input, it should be controlled input bind with state on change event dot target dot value should go to set to do input. I hope it's visible. Let me remove this. Now it's visible. Event dot target dot value. Now if we type something, we have controlled input. On add to do, let's do const handle add to do event dot prevent default handle to do callback function goes to on click. Now it won't refresh, as you can see. We have to create to do store. We can give name to do state is better or to do store. whatever name you can use. Using use also like better, like we are using hook, that also better. So let's use to do, to do's, use to do's. And let's start from scratch because we have more practiced on this syntax. Then what we have to do first, we have to install Zustand. We need create function. So inside create function there will be callback function that implicitly receive setter function, and we have to always return an object, so that we don't have to remember all the things, because when we use this in our app many times it will be by default memorize us. So this is callback function on create. We receive set, we have to always return object in moon bracket. To do's is array initially. We have to do add, delete. What next? Add, delete, update. Add to do's. This is function, it will invoke set function that take callback function that also return an object. Set function implicitly receives state. Okay, when we use this one add to do, we can pass the to do object here. To do object, let's add one to do for now, to like list all the to do's, like id initially, one name of to do, or we can do title of to do, like breathing, meditation, walking is my to do today. And let's see we can receive this in every component or not. Use to do, import use to do's, use to do's. What it does, return object with to do's and add to do's, add to do's, to do's, add to do's. Let's print the to do's for now to see everything is perfectly fine or not. ul, we can use ul if to do's length greater than 0. If it's true, then do this ul, otherwise show the message no to do's. How can we print all the to do's? We can use map, to do's dot map. Here we have to do object, we can directly destructure like title and id. we can return li here, that title, and here key is important because we are doing adding and removing. If it's static, then we can use index. Unique id is important for reconciliation process. Yes, walking. So our one to do is showing second. Let's add more to do's. mm, Walking, coding, id will be 2. Yes, everything working fine. What is this error? So there is the previous error is for like giving same id. It will throw error for that. Let's add to do. Let's do add to do, handle add to do, and we have to pass the object something like this. What we have to pass? id and title. Title came from the to do input. We can put the validation if there is to do input string, then only add to do, otherwise don't add empty space also. Like we can trim this one, so we don't want to add the empty space also. id we can use this to do's last id, last to do's id, that will be 2, and we can increase using +1. To do's of last, how can we get the last index? We can do dot, we can use -1 also, dot at -1, and -1 dot id +1. So if I do -2, then it will be second last. This is last one. So we added id also. Let's add here, we haven't handled the to do's state dot to do's. We need all previous inside array, so this is also array, so we can spread, and we can use this to do object. Let's try to add a b c d. Yes, but it's not removing from the input box. So if it's success, let's do reset this input box. abcd1, yes, it's empty now. But what if we have 0, like there is no to do's, and does it will start with this +1. Let's see, a b c d. So there is issue with id. I know, like it will create issue. Let's console, if console dot log to do's at -1, if it's empty, what it will give? It will give undefined. So We can use here nullish operator. If it's 0, then also it will check only null and undefined. Or there is better option, mm, what it will give as an id 0, it will create issue. We can use to do's dot length -1 on the last index. If it's true, no, to do's dot length greater than 0, then we can use, yes, now it should work, dot at -1, then and only we can do +1, else part will be initially 1. If it's greater than 0, then we can access this, it won't give undefined. Now there is no to do. If I do a b c d, yes, now it's working. So we solve this issue. Adding is working now. Delete part, let's add again. Initial to do id 1, title working, object 2, id 2, coding. Let's delete now, then we can do update. 37 minutes already done. Let's add delete button here. Delete on click, we can directly use, we don't have to use handle delete, we can directly like let's remove for now. We can directly create this at to remove to do. This function take to do id. We can use filter to remove something from the state. Set state always return object to do's state dot to do's state dot to do's dot filter. Let's destructure id. If id not equal to do id, then it will be removed. Remove to do, we receive here. Remove to do, on click, remove to do, and we have id. Let's see delete is working or not. Why it's not showing the initial id title to do's? There is no error. Length greater than 0. Console.log to do's. Why it's empty string? Yes, now there is two, but it won't show on the to do list. What is the issue? Remove to do. Everything looks fine. If I add something, to do while rendering default to locate set, cannot update the component to do while re-rendering different component. Yes, it's my mistake. When we pass the id we have to use remove to do, otherwise it will, whenever it will render, it will immediately delete all the to do's. Now we have walking. If I delete walking, yes, it's working. If I delete coding, yes, it's working, still working. If I do a b c d, yes, it's still working. Everything is working fine. Only one thing is not working, that will be update. Let's do that also. Update. Let's create a what is this? Title should be first. Let's refresh. We have update. We have to write logic for update. 42 minutes. Let's do this in 50 minutes. Under 15 minutes. Update. Update. We need to do id, or we need to updated to do object. Updated to do object. Set function state to do's. We can use map to update. State dot to do's dot map to do object. If to do object dot id is equal to update dot id is matching, then return that updated one. If id is not matching, just return that already exist object. So update is done. Now let's use update to do. Update to do takes id. We have to use handle update. Handle update const handle update. We receive here to do id, or we can do direct id. What we can do is in updating, if I click on update, it should be this string goes to on this input. This string goes into this input, and This button also changed to add to do to update to do, so conditional rendering also. So for that also we need one state to store this in update state or not, and we can store the id also there. Let's do update state, update state set update state, that will be object state will be false initially, id will be null, we can do null initially, null. Based on this update state, so here we can do set to do input also, we have to put and set update state also. Here we can do use previous also, 1 2 3 previous, uh, what it like state is true and id is id, this one. Da, da, da. Input we have to find from to do's const update input is equal to, we can use find to find from to do's dot find using id is equal to, it will create issue. Can do to do id, we can change the name of this and this. Yes, now we will get updated input dot title, updated input dot title we can push there. Why it's 2, let's go, and if we click update, yes, if we click on this coding one, the coding one is shown here, but still button is not working. We can do conditional rendering here. What is the state? Updated state dot state is true, then do updated to do, update to do, update to do. Now it's working. If I refresh, it's add. If I click on update, it update to do. Now we can use that id and input to update. We can push we can put condition here, if update state dot state is true, update state is true, else part we can do this add one, and both time we have to like clear the input field. Update update to do, yes, this one update to do, take object of id from where, from this update state dot id, then title, where title come from, to do input. Now everything should work fine, like walking dead, we can do update, Yes, it's working, but this state is not resetting. We have to reset the state. Set update state. We can pass the initial state. This one. Now we can do coding for just and if I click on update to do, yes, everything is working fine. If I delete, so we build we did CRUD in just and we build kind of basic to do also. So it look like difficult for me also. I i know all the redux, normal redux and redux toolkit also I know, but initially it will little difficult to remember the syntax. But after I know it's just a function, bunch of callbacks, and so three things we have to know, like uh, it's a function, it's a function like, as you can see, it's a function, create function, bunch of callback function, that will be two, and three will be, it will always return an object, so that we have to know, and it will return, it will receive implicitly set function. So I don't know about the asynchronous task, like in, we have redux middleware create async thunk that will fetch the data from the APIs, so that I don't know about the just and, so I learned this just 2 3 hour ago, and it's really easy for me for now. It's for this simple logic because I did so many practice on that. So let's stop this video, and uh, I also make video on redux toolkit, no, starting from context API. So starting from prop drilling, so we can start from prop drilling to do all the like similar app what we have to like suffer from the prop drilling. So we can start from prop drilling, then context API, then we can go to, so just in already we done, so let's skip that. Then we can go to redux, then in last we can go to redux toolkit, simple like basic app.